My name's Saul Brown. I own an antique shop on the bad side of town, where you go when you gotta get what you need. And you don't go there if you don't need to get what you need. You know what I mean? My shop's got rooms of dusty memories, hidden sentimental treasures. It's kind of a dump. It's nothing fancy, to be sure. I sell antique tables, family heirlooms, that kind of thing. I get most of my stuff from consignment sales, estate sales, that kind of thing. Sometimes people bring things in here and you pay them what you think they're worth. And you give them $50 for trading in their memories. You can tell from the looks on their faces you're shortchanging them, offering them cents on the dollar for their treasured pasts. But they need the money. And you're paying what the market will allow. It's economics. They can take it or leave it. Your best offer. Well, times were hard. I hadn't had a sale for weeks. It was a rainy Tuesday night. I was closing up my shop. The door opened. A bell rang, jangling back and forth on the door. This young lady, full of confidence and pride. Long, blonde, curly hair, steely eyes. I could tell right away she was a tough customer. She said, "I'm looking for a music box. I'm looking for the kind my mother used to have in our living room. And every night she'd read us stories, and at the end of the story she'd play that music. And it would dance. The little dancer on top of the box would spin. And the dance would go on, and the music would fill the room. And I would nestle into my mother's arms. And I was warm, and I was safe, and her arms were pressing against. She pressed my head against her chest, and I was so safe when that music was playing. She's gone now. Been gone 2 years. It was cancer. I looked around. I thought, she's talking to me. Well, she was talking to me. She said, cancer runs in my family. Her mother. It took her sister. Then it took her. Oh, she was so sick. So very sick. So sick. That music box sat on her nightstand, and it was there. When my mother slipped away, that dancer was dancing. And everything got crazy. So many plans were made in her funeral, what to do with the house. And it all flew by like a blur. And before I knew it, there was the house, the music box, the dancer were gone. And I never thought I'd see it again. And here it is. Here it is in this dump of a shop you have. Amidst all this clutter, garbage, and junk. I said, yes, you've got an eye. That music box is something special. And she turned the little crank on the side, and it played that music, that sweet music it ushered out and went into the room, and it filled the room with a melody, a gentle, gentle melody. And I tried to show her a couple other music boxes, maybe I could upsell her a little bit, but she, no. She wanted that music box. And she said, this is the one right here. And how much do you want for it? And I said, well, you know, I'm running a business here. I need to make some money. She said, I will give you what you want for it. So I named my price. And then she got a little flash across her face, like worry, like a momentary panic, like fear. I could only call it fear because she looked into her handbag and she realized she didn't have a credit card. So she looked at me and said, sir, I need to step away for a moment. My husband is across the street looking at an army surplus store. He wants to buy one of those helmets from World War II. And I said, I need to go get the credit card. Can you hold it for me? So I agreed to hold the music box for this young lady. I said, absolutely. You go take care of your business. You do what you need to do, and I'll take care of it on this end. Well, she went and the door closed and the bell jangled. Now remember, I was getting ready to close. And it wasn't 5 minutes she was gone and another lady came in. And this lady was of a certain age. She had gravitas. She carried herself with a certain bearing, a regal bearing. And she said, what do you have in your hand? I said, it's a music box. She said, give it to me. I said, ma'am, this has been set aside. It's not for sale. She said, give it to me. So I did. I handed her the music box. And she turned the crank on the music box, and the music filled the room, the beautiful melody, the gentle plunking of the strings of this beautiful melody filled the room once again, and the dancer danced in a permanent plie all around several times. And she said, I want to buy this music box. I said, ma'am, the music box is not for sale. There's a young lady who was in here 5 minutes before you came in. She bought the music box fair and square. She said, I want to buy the music box. I said, ma'am, it's not for sale. She said, I will make you an offer. So I had a decision to make. Would I choose what I promised the young lady, or would I go with this larger offer, this better offer, or would I wait for the best offer? So she named her price, and I found myself in a bit of a quandary, because this was almost doubled. So I had a decision to make. What would I do? What would you do? I said, yes, ma'am. You have a deal. And this regal lady, this proud, royal-looking regal lady smiled. And she said, you know, that music was the music I used to use when I sent my child to sleep. I used to hold her in my arms, and she'd nestle her head on my shoulder, and that music would play, and she would get so restful and so quiet, and she would drift off to sleep. And I thought I had lost this music box years ago, and to find it here now, I never thought this would happen. So she took out of her purse, she took the credit card and handed it to me. And I was ringing her up. And right at that moment, the door opened, the bell jangled, and the young lady came back with her husband. She said, Chad, darling, you have to see this music box. This lovely music box that I'm about to buy. And the old lady said, That music box not for sale. She said, what? I said, I bought that music box, she said. And the young lady looked at me with steel in her eyes, with hate and anger and rage coming out of her eyes right at me. And my heart, well, my heart got a little weak. She said, how could you? You promised me you would not sell that box. And I said, ma'am, I go with my promises or best offer. And so those two started to fight. The screaming, the yelling, the crying, the rage. Anyone who said that the fair sex has never seen a fight like this. It went on and on and on, and occasionally they would come at me, and then they would wrangle around with each other, and things would get knocked over, clocks knocked over, and suddenly my shop was a war zone. These two meant business. There weren't no fooling around. And as I watched them tear up my shop, I knew I had to do something. So I grabbed that music box and I held it high above my head. And I said, if you do not stop ruining my store, I will smash this music box. And they stopped. And they looked at me. Then the younger lady said, give it to her. She needs it more than I do. Then the older lady was stunned. So I handed the music box to the young lady. And I handed the older lady her credit card. The young lady paid for the music box. And she was gone. And then it was just me and the old royal lady. There wasn't a word, but the hate in her eyes drilled into my soul. She turned, and in a regal royal way, walked out the door, and the door opened and the door closed, and the bell on the door jingled until it stopped. So nothing left to do. I closed up shop. By this time it had started to rain. I pulled up the collar of my coat, and I walked out into the night.